Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Raksha, and I'm here with Gautam. We're part of the Zoho Writer team, and our focus is helping teams simplify the way they work with documents. We also have Sam with us, who will be answering your questions today. So, last week, I was speaking with a sales team about how they handle documents. They apparently draft their documents in Word, export it to PDF, make changes to that PDF in Adobe, send things out for signature in another tool, use something else for forms, and rely on different apps for sharing and collaboration. By the end of the process, they have touched at least 4 or 5 tools for what basically is just one document. I'm guessing that might sound familiar to many of you. So here's the question I want you to think about as we get started. What if one tool could handle the core things you rely on every day, like creating and editing documents and PDFs, building and filling forms, even from paper or static PDFs, sharing and publishing content, pulling in data from your business apps, and automating routine document generation? Under our theme Solving Business Challenges, today we look at how you can improve operational efficiency using Zoho Writer as a single unified workspace instead of juggling multiple tools. Keep this practical and business focused. So let's dive in. Before we begin, just a quick housekeeping note. We host these webinars on the second Thursday of every month, and the recording of this session will be shared with all the registered users. So here's how we'll be spending our time today. First, we look at document creation, how Writer can replace Word for creating, editing, and collaborating on your business documents, and digitizing forms, meaning taking your existing paper forms or static PDFs and turning them into fillable digital forms that can push data straight into your Zoho apps, similar to what tools like PDF Filler or JotForm do, but within the same platform. Next, we'll talk about how you can build interactive forms to capture data from employees, customers, or partners. Then, we'll move into PDF and workflow tools. We'll see how you can edit and annotate PDFs directly in Writer and how to automate review and approval workflows so documents move from draft to approved without endless email chains, similar to what you might be doing today in SharePoint or Power Automate.
Exactly. After that, we'll cover document generation and e-signing. So generating personalized documents in bulk from your data and sending them for signature without leaving Zoho Writer. And we'll also wrap up with publishing, labels, and power tools like exporting and publishing documents, generating labels using your Zoho data, checking spelling, grammar, plagiarism, working in Markdown, and translating content right inside Zoho Writer. We'll also leave some time at the end for your questions. So as we go through these sections, you can also drop your questions in the Q&A tab and Sam will be answering them. And if there are any left out, we'll pick them up later. Let's start with basics. So Raksha, I have a question. Can I use Zoho Writer as a full-featured alternative to Microsoft Word? So let's say for creating, editing, and collaborating on the business documents.
That's usually the first thing people want to know, and the short answer is yes. Zoho Writer is a full-featured word processor. You can create and format all your usual business documents like proposals, policies, contracts, reports, you name it. You have rich text formatting features, styles, tables, images, headers and footers, templates, and easy export to formats like PDF and DocX, so nothing about your deliverables has to change. On top of that, you get built-in AI assistants. Zoho's AI Zia can help you with grammar, style, and tone suggestions, summarize long documents, and even help with translations, all without leaving the document. So you're not just replacing Word, you're adding AI on top inside a tool that's already connected to the rest of your Zoho ecosystem. Where it starts to feel different is collaboration. Multiple people can work in the same document at the same time, leave comments, track changes, and even chat right inside the document instead of sending versions back and forth over email. It's much easier to see who did what, agree or disagree on edits, and get to a final version faster.
Well, that looks great. So let's move on to forms. Raksha, can I convert my existing paper forms or static PDFs into interactive, fillable digital forms using Zoho Writer? Let's say similar to tools like PDF Filler or JotForm.
If you're thinking we've got tons of paper forms and old PDFs, do we have to rebuild all of that? The answer is no. Instead of recreating your forms field by field, you just upload the existing PDF form into Writer. Writer uses AI and OCR to scan the document, detect where the fillable fields are, and automatically place form fields with the right labels on top of your PDF template. In a lot of cases, that gets you 70 to 80% done instantly. Then you simply have to fine tune, like add advanced fields, add file upload fields, or subforms for repeating sections, and then you're done.
All right. The next question that we often get is, can I create interactive fillable forms in Zoho Writer in order to collect business data similar to tools like Microsoft Forms?
Yes, you can do that. Let me break this into two quick stages. Stage 1 is building the template. You can start from scratch or you can bring in your document you already have from tools like Microsoft Word or even a simple PDF and turn them into a fillable template by inserting fields on top of it. Once the fields are in, you can pre-fill the bits you already know, like the employee name or client details, so the person filling the form only has to complete what's missing. You can make the form feel smart by using conditional fields. You can show or hide questions based on the previous answers so the form stays clean and relevant for each person. And if you need repeating rows, like multiple products in an order or multiple dependents in your insurance form, you add a subform table so people can add as many entries as they need while you still get nicely structured data from your side. Stage 2 is what happens after they hit submit. In a lot of tools, that's where the real work starts. Someone manually has to copy the data into their contracts, update the CRM, send things for signature, and so on. With Writer, that's not the case. Instead of just giving you a spreadsheet row, Writer can automatically generate one or more documents from that response, like an offer letter, an NDA, an internal approval note, apply conditional clauses to it, convert them into a PDF, lock them, or even send them for e signature. At the same time, they can also be pushed into Zoho CRM or other Zoho apps using Deluge without any manual copy paste. And that's really where Writer is different from typical form tools. Most tools help you collect responses. Writer helps you bring in your existing PDFs with AI and OCR, turn them into smart pre-filled conditional templates with subforms, and then automatically turn every submission into real documents and live workflows. Let me quickly show you a demo. So this is the form we have created using Zoho Writer. You can insert fillable fields and connect a data source from which you can pre-fill the merge fields. You can configure conditions, formulas, and even insert a subform table if necessary. This is how the form will look. Some of the fields are already filled in. Calculations are done based on conditional fields inserted here. And the subform table, the form fillers can actually add one or more rows here and add multiple entries to the table. Once the submit button is hit, the configured output will be automatically triggered.
Well, thank you so much for that demo, Raksha. So now, I just wanted to address this question. Can my team update and comment on PDFs in Zoho Writer instead of juggling between tools like Acrobat or Sajda?
Yes, you can. The idea is that you don't have to download a PDF, open another app, make a tweak, and then re upload it. Instead, you just bring the PDF into Writer and edit the content almost like a regular document. For example, fix the text, update dates or prices. You can even adjust the layout and then export it again as a clean PDF. With Writer's collaboration features, your team can review the PDF together, like highlighting sections, adding comments, and annotate right on top of the PDF instead of trading marked up copies over email. And if your documents are visual, you can add or replace images and even annotate those images directly using Zoho's PDF editor and then save everything back in one file.
Well, that looks like an excellent tool for editing PDFs. Now, moving on to my next question. Can I automate document review and approval workflows within Zoho Writer? Let's say similar to what I currently do with SharePoint or Power Automate.
Yes, Writer has that built in. Instead of emailing a draft around and hoping everyone replies, you set up a review or approval workflow right from the document. You choose who needs to review, who needs to approve, and in what order, and Writer routes the document for you with email alerts. To make it easy to roll out, there are pre-built workflow models for common patterns like simple approvals, review then approval, and so on. So you're not just designing everything from scratch. And as the document moves through those steps, Writer keeps a complete status view and audit trail of who reviewed, who approved, what changed, and when. So, if you're used to SharePoint or Power Automate to keep your approvals under control, you can get that same structure without leaving Writer's editor.
Well, thank you for that. And that actually leads to a follow-up question. Can I build automated document workflows like approvals and notification within Zoho Writer? So we have that in Power Automate. So do you have similar to that?
Yes, you can. And this is where things get really interesting. Writer has an automation flow designer. Think of it as a visual canvas where you can drag and drop cards to map out your process. No code is needed. You pick a trigger like a fillable form submission or a deal moving to a next stage in your CRM, and then change the actions you want, like generating documents, sending them for approval, emailing stakeholders, or update the data in other apps. So, if today you're saying when this form is submitted in tool A, create a document in tool B, then notify someone in tool C, you can pull that off with Writer's automation flow designer. The document, the workflow, and the integrations all live together, which is a lot easier to manage over time. Let me quickly show you how Writer's automation designer looks. So, from a configured merge template, you click on Setup Advanced Merge in the output settings. Here's our no-code visual card-based flow designer. You can simply drag and drop these cards from all these categories here and configure them here inside the flow builder. You can add filters and select how you want the generated documents to be delivered, all within the same workflow designer. Once the merge is triggered, the workflow you just configured will be executed automatically. So that covers the creation, form, PDF, and workflow side of Writer from my end. Gautam, over to you to take us through how we handle document generation, e-signing, and the rest of the toolkit in Writer.
Well, thank you so much for that demo, Raksha. I hope that'll help our users to, just try out these features that we showcased today. Now, before we move on, I just have a quick poll. So please do let us know what's stopping you from switching. So I hope you are using many other tools across the attendees that we have today. If you could just let us know if there are any features that is missing or any other difficulties that you are facing and which is stopping exactly from starting to use Zoho Writer. So we have got a list of options. You can choose from any one of them. And if it is not listed out in here, you can use the Q&A tab and let us know your results. So we'll just give a quick minute. So please go through the options and cast your votes, and we'll just proceed with the next section of this webinar. Okay, I do see there are many facing struggles in the learning curve or usability concerns. So yeah, I hope this webinar will also address them. Please start using them, and if any concerns, you can do let us know. So thank you for casting your votes. So now, yes, let's just quickly move on to the next section. So far, we have seen how Zoho Writer handles everything from creating documents to forms, PDFs, and workflows. Now let's start about something that ties together everything, which is document generation. And honestly, this is one of my favorite parts of Writer because of how much heavy lifting Writer does it for you. So think about how many times your team creates the document over and over, like offer letters, invoices, and contracts. That too with just different names, numbers, or dates. That's exactly the problem document generation solves, and Writer does it really well. And I know Raksha has a question that digs right into this. Please go ahead, Raksha.
Sure, Gautam. One question many people here would likely want clarity is this. Can I generate personalized business documents in bulk using Writer, similar to mail merge in MS Word or tools like Formstack?
Yes, you absolutely can. And it goes quite a bit further than the traditional mail merge. So let's say you're in a retail company and you've just onboarded 50 new vendors. Each one needs a personalized agreement with their name, payment terms, and product categories filled in. Doing that one by one is painful. That exactly where Zoho Writer merge comes in. So you start with a template, either something you design from scratch in Writer, or you bring any existing PDF or Word document that you have and just turn them into your merge template in Writer. After that, you can connect it to your data source. Now, this is where it gets interesting. You're not limited to uploading a spreadsheet. Writer can pull data directly from Zoho CRM, Zoho Books, Zoho Forms, Zoho Sheet, and several other Zoho applications and third-party applications as well. So your documents are always working off live, accurate data and not just a file someone exported last Tuesday. So once your template and data are connected, you can run the merge and choose what happens next. You can merge and send the documents out directly via email or send them for collecting signatures using a Zoho sign. Or you can also route them through an approval workflow, which is all done without even leaving Zoho Writer. So it's not just generation, it's generation plus the next step in one go. That's really what makes it powerful. It's not just filling in the names and numbers, it's an entire journey from data to a signed approved document automated in one single flow.
That's really powerful, especially the fact that the entire merge to delivery happens without ever leaving Zoho Writer. All right, moving on to the next section, signature collection. And I have a question here, Gautam. Can I review, send, and collect signatures on business documents directly within Writer without relying on tools like Adobe Sign or DocuSign?
Absolutely. And this is one of those features where you really feel the benefit of having everything at one place. So, Writer integrates directly with Zoho Sign, which means once your document is ready, you don't have to export it, upload it into another tool, upload it again for just getting the signed signature, and then start from scratch. All you have to Writer is just set it up right within the document section. You can simply drag and drop of field doc, assign them to the required signers, and you're good to go. Now, what's nice is that it's not just a simple send and hope for the best. You get proper control over the entire signing process. You can define the signing order. So, let's say if a contract needs to go to your legal team first and then to your client, it does exactly that. And not only that, you can also assign roles. Let's say someone might just need to approve, someone else might just need to put in their signature, and there is another person who needs to just get a copy of the signed document. So everything can be done within Writer so that everyone gets what they need and nothing more. You can also set deadlines and set automatic reminders so you're not manually chasing people down to put in their signatures. And here's something I find really useful where you can set up conditional signers within the document itself. For example, you a threshold, then it automatically gets routed to a senior approver. Otherwise, it goes straight to the signer himself. So you need not maintain separate templates for each scenario. You can make signers and send the document to the required person and automation. And once the document is signed, you can also define what happens next. You can push the data into CRM, notice, let's say save a copy into your drive, or even trigger an entire different workflow as a follow-up. So the signature is not just an end process, it's a step within it.
Great. So we have covered how signatures fit right into the document workflow without needing an external tool. Moving on to the next section, publishing. And the question here is, can I publish and export documents from Zoho Writer in multiple formats similar to Microsoft Publisher?
Well, yes, and this is something that comes in really handy when you want your document to reach beyond just your people inside your organization. So let's say you are in an education company and you've put together a detailed course guide or a policy handbook. Instead of emailing a PDF to everyone and then worrying about whether they have the latest version, you can publish it directly from Writer as a live web page. So you can simply share the link so that anyone with that link can sit. And if you make any update to the document, it also reflects automatically. So you need not send every time the latest copy to everyone again and again. You can also control the visibility by publishing it just within your organization or making it public on the web. And if a company has its own domain, even the document can be published under your company's URL instead of a generic link, which keeps things more professional. Now, let's talk about distribution. Writer also allows you to export documents as HTML or EPUB formats, which are really great for digital reading and distribution. So if you're putting together something like a product guide or a training manual that people need to read on different devices, EPUB handles that really well. It adapts to your screen sizes just like an ebook would. So between publishing and exporting, Writer gives you a clean way to get your documents to the right people with the right format and without any extra tools.
That's great. It looks like Writer really does take care of the entire publishing and distribution side as well. Let's move on to the next section. And the question here is, can I design and generate different type of labels such as shipping or address labels using Zoho Writer similar to Avery labels?
Yes, and this is one of those things that sounds small but saves a lot of time when you're doing it in scale. So let's say you are running a logistics company and you need to print out shipping labels for 200 orders. You don't want to type each one out manually, and you definitely don't want to juggle a different tool just for label designing, because Writer handles everything end to end. You start with a label template, and Writer gives you a few ways to get there. You can pick from pre-built Avery templates, which most people are already familiar with, and you can also make use of covering things like address labels, shipping labels, written address labels, and even event batches. Or if your company already has a label designed as a PDF, you can simply bring that in Writer and build on top of it. So once your template is ready, you can simply connect it to your data source, which could be Zoho CRM, books, sheet, or even an external data source like a CSV file. So the fields from your data, let's say names, addresses, order numbers, everything gets mapped into the label template that we have uploaded. And Writer generates all of them in one go. You can also have a preview and then print it or download it directly. So whether you're a team doing a one-time event batch run or a business printing hundreds of shipping labels every week, Writer takes care of it without needing a dedicated label tool.
That's very insightful. Now let's move on to our final section, which is all about the built-in tools in Writer. So the first question here is, can I check my documents for spelling errors, grammar issues, and plagiarism directly within Writer, which is similar to Grammarly?
Yes, definitely. And this is one of those things where people are often surprised that they don't need a separate subscription for it. So think about a marketing team at an e-commerce company that's constantly pushing out product description, campaign copies, and promotional emails. They are probably using a grammar tool on the side, maybe even a separate plagiarism checker before everything goes live. Whereas with Writer, all of that is already available in here. So Zia, which is Writer's built-in AI, checks your spelling and grammar as you type, catching not just the obvious typos, but also things like confused words, punctuation errors, passive sentences, and even writing style issues like wordy phrases or informal tone. So it's not just did you spell this right? It's more about having a writing coach sitting right next to you. And then there is the plagiarism checker, which is also powered by Zia. So before you publish or send out any content, you can run a quick check, and Zia compares your document against a large volume of publicly available web pages and gives you a clear breakdown of what percentage is unique, what matches where, and from which source as well. So your team doesn't need to switch between Writer and a third-party tool just in order to ensure content integrity. Everything is all right there within the same document that you're already working on.
That's really useful, especially having the writing quality suggestions alongside spelling and grammar in one place. On that note, can you also let us know if we can write and format content in Markdown using Writer similar to Typora?
Definitely, Raksha. And this is one's particularly interesting if you have technical writers or developers on your team who prefer working in Markdown. So imagine a software company whose technical writers draft their documentation in Markdown because it's clean and structured. The usual problem is that Markdown files stay in a separate tool, and then someone has to convert them before they can be shared or published properly. Whereas when you use Zoho Writer, you don't have to break that workflow. If you paste Markdown content into Writer, say something's generated from an OpenAI or drafted in another tool, Writer automatically detects it and applies the formatting instantly. Your headers, bold text, bullet points, all of it comes through clean and structured so that no reformatting or no more copy paste chaos. And this also works the other way too. If someone on your team feels comfortable writing in Markdown directly, they can also do that in Writer and have it rendered properly in the same document where the rest of the team collaborates. So your technical and non-technical team members can actually work on the same document without any friction.
That's a great one, especially for teams that are split between technical and non technical people. And speaking of removing friction, here's our last question for today. Can I translate my business documents into multiple languages directly within Zoho Writer?
Yes, you can, Raksha, and this is one of the features that can genuinely save businesses a lot of time and money. So let's say you're a manufacturing company that works with suppliers and clients across different countries. Every time you need to send out a contract or a product spec sheet in a different language, someone has to copy the content, paste it into a translation tool that is available, then make sure that the formatting is done properly, and then bring it back. So that's actually a lot of back and forth for something that should be straightforward. With Zoho Writer, you can translate contents right inside the document. You can simply select a paragraph, select a sentence, or the entire document and translate it into over 70 languages without leaving Zoho Writer. And what's really useful is that Writer automatically detects the source language as well. So it's not required for you to specify what the original language is. And you also have the option to save the translated version as a separate document, which actually means your original content stays intact within the document and you have a clean translated copy which can be sent out in a quick button. So your team can create the document in one language and then distribute in many, all from one tool without ever needing a third party translation tool. And that actually brings us to a full circle moment. So from the time we started the session, we have walked through document creation, forms, PDFs, approvals, e-signatures, publishing, labels, and now writing tools and translation. And if you just look um, if you just look at the tools we have talked about replacing, Word, Grammarly, Adobe Sign, JotForm, Power Automate, and more. Writer isn't just an alternative to each of them. So it's actually one platform that brings all of it together so that it's more of a fewer subscription, fewer context switches, and a lot less time spent on managing tools instead of actually getting the work done. So before we wrap up this session, I want just to give a quick peek at what's coming up in Zoho Writer. So these are some exciting things in the pipeline that I think a lot of you will look forward to. First up is a native PDF editor desktop application. So right now, if you wanted to work on a PDF, you navigate to a browser, go to pdf.zoho.com or .in, and then do it from there. So what's coming is a full desktop application that lets you work on the PDFs directly from your local machine. So you can simply open, edit, and save without opening a browser at all. Think of it as a complete standalone replacement for the PDF editors you're probably already paying for. So next is something really powerful for teams that care about consistent communication. So we have an organization style guide checker that's a plan in the future. So this is an AI powered feature that essentially learns how your organization writes. So your tone, your terminology, your preferred phrasing, and then it automatically enforces that style across all your documents. So whether it's a new hire writing their first proposal, or even a senior manager drafting a client email, Writer will flag anything that doesn't matches your organization's voice, and it'll also provide you with correct suggestions so that there are no more inconsistent messaging across your team. And the third one is a Zoho Book extension for Writer. So this will allow organizations to create and use fully customized templates inside Writer for their invoices, billing documents, and more. And you can also have them work seamlessly using Zoho Books. So your finance team will get the flexibility of Writer's template engine combined with the data that is already sitting in Zoho Books. So these are the three really exciting additions, and each one pushes Writer further as one platform where your entire document lifecycle lives. So in the screen now, you can see the support information. So we support 24/5 for calls, and we have email as well as chat support, which is 24/7. So you can reach us out anytime you want and clarify your questions or issues that you have. And apart from that, I hope that covers today's session. So thank you so much everyone for joining the today's webinar. And as we mentioned, this webinar is hosted on the second Thursday of every month, and we come up with new topics every time. And this year we have solving business challenges, and that's the main theme of our webinar. And we'll be talking about individual topics in the upcoming months. So hoping to see you in our next webinar. Thank you everyone, and have a great day.